I saw no, I saw it. He's going from obviously what I'm doing, I think we need zero okay.
Are you Ashley? Krishna.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And a few people Of course. It's like 7 weeks. Great. Kind of that's the thing. It's like I would say it's very. Right now, it's the playground focused on like curriculum, This is his Tuesday night. Tuesday night.
You know what? I didn't appreciate
Oh, fantastic.
There was just so much going on. Is Elisa?
not to say.
She's in the grade right now. Yeah, but she has
Now the door is not.
She's figuring out what to do. I think she understands that I really she hits her body and she's her first doctor's appointment
And then do you feel
that's like you're not
this morning. What I said is higher right and almost where she said basically 10%. She's over there. And then I'll say
because he's like one of those he doesn't show
finally it's a lot to I feel like no action just be done.
so everything's all cleaned up. Mom and Dad are and I said as soon as it's going
it sounds like the
Yeah, it gives you some power, yeah. Was it 7? I remember. But you said birthday. I think you said it right though. It does sound a little bit.
a dog or a horse or something.
because I need some. Yeah. Okay.
Pretty good. How are
Shitting tonight.
you? Covering. Ed, how are you
I
doing?
knew you were coming.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
So, David has agreed. He's meeting with the mayor
Yeah, on Friday morning.
at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay.
We're not talking about anything else.
Okay.
We're talking about irrigation.
Gotcha.
Oh, no, he's going to go over
Everything that's
when they
open.
leave. Yeah, he's doing the good part.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Vacation for Dave, or is he in another town or something?
Yeah, he's in Emerson. I've been covering him in Emerson for like the past 2 months, maybe 3. So he's like, I should probably make an appearance in a while. They're both at the same night, so
Yeah, I know.
it's the first meeting. So
I missed the last Oradell meeting because I had ankle. Yeah.
well, good to see you. Catherine. Yep. Hard to forget.
I drive past project and everything all the time. Looks like progress.
Think so. No, yeah. Like we've always got road programs and everything, but as far as Long Kindercomack Road, there's still like phase 3 of so.
Yep, I don't know.
Sorry, we're a little late coming out of closed session. This meeting was already called to order at 7 p.m. and adjourned into closed session to talk about contractual negotiations. I will again read compliance with the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was published in the official newspapers and prominently posted in Borough Hall and filed with the municipal clerk in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. We have a pledge of allegiance, please, Councilwoman Harrod.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please, Laura?
Mayor Koth,
Here.
Mr. Kelly,
Here.
Mr. Tashian,
Here.
Mr. Kern,
Here.
Mr. Gullo,
Here.
Ms. Hara, here, Mr. Banfield.
Here.
Okay, thank you. First for discussion is the OK Foundation Fund Run for 2026. Mr. Gullo, would you like to address this?
They submitted correspondence actually about a month or so ago requesting the date for it's Columbus Day weekend that Saturday. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. So, but they
10/10.
the 10th, excuse me, and they're requesting the use of the fields, etc., like they normally have in years past.
Okay, anybody have an issue with that?
No, I know that the fire department was asking, so I'll relay the message.
Okay, great, thank you.
And they said it was typical that we waive the fees for police support as well?
I think that was to you, Ted.
Yeah,
Ted.
they had requested that. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So next item for discussion is a pedestrian safety initiative on the Kinderkamak corridor. I think we can all globally contribute to this discussion because I think we all have something that, a vested interest in this. I believe it was 2 meetings ago we applied for a grant that Neglia helped us prepare with the state to deal with pedestrian safety on Oradell Avenue and Kinderkamak. Few things we were looking at was how to reduce the amount of travel of pedestrian experiences when they cross Kinderkamak Road, perhaps the installation of additional lighting and warning devices, and one of the things was to look at the speed limit within the Kinderkamak corridor. In the past, our master plan has had from New Milford Avenue to Oradell Avenue as a B1 zone, and the area south of that to the River Edge border as a B3 zone, which is a lesser intensive business district. In the planning board's re-examination, they've looked at creating the entire corridor along Kinderkamak as a B1. So one of the things that has come up is that should we make that speed limit consistent throughout the corridor? So I think that this should be a very important initiative jointly of the entire council in terms of how we improve lighting at night, how we improve safety devices, how we improve the pedestrian experience while not enraging the motorist at the same time who, might be inclined to want to zip through. And some of that also relates to enforcement actions that the police department needs to take. We don't have to issue tickets every time, but I think it is important that people get stopped and spoken to and reminded about a law that they may not be familiar with, especially if they're passing through town. Anybody else have anything they want to contribute as far as tasks they think should be a part of a safety improvement project along Kinderkamak?
I think that it ties into the grants, right, that we
Correct.
Have applied for. So that's a huge factor. If those are massive dollars that would go help towards funding potential solutions if it was curb bump outs and things like that. So I don't know the timing of that. I'm assuming it's later in the year that we hear whether or not we we're ruled favorably on the grant application, but certainly anything to calm traffic would, I think we'd all be in favor of, certainly.
And the problem of the Church Street crossing where nobody goes down to Oradell Avenue to cross, they all cross there where there's no crosswalk, and yet it's a continual corridor. And I don't know what the solution to that is, but I'd love to have them explore something.
Okay. I think the next step will be asking the borough engineer or other of our engineers that we've qualified to do work for the borough to provide us proposals for a scope of work to conceptually design the improvements we hope to impart for the council's review and help us advance things while we're waiting to hear about the grant.
Jim, how does the county owning Kinderkamak Road impact this? So from a grant viewpoint and from a planning viewpoint, should their engineers be involved and be point on it, that we guide them, or?
So I spoke to the deputy county engineer who stated that generally they would be supportive within reason of things that we would ask to improve pedestrian safety. The cost would be the boroughs to absorb. They would have to obviously approve any plans that we prepared for this, and we would prepare plans in consultation with them so that, obviously upon submitting something for their review, there would not be some shock and awe about what we were planning to do.
Okay.
There's
and then
many.
How about the grant? Because in theory, shouldn't the grant be in their name, not our name?
I think because we have to pay for it, it's probably appropriate. It's in our name. I think what we need is their endorsement of the project so that somebody reviewing the grant says, this is a real project, this is approved by the agency having jurisdiction, and that the borough, if given the money, will be able to advance the project versus depriving somebody else and giving us money we can't do a project.
I just want to make sure we're capable of doing it. So thank you for doing the due diligence.
Okay. Next item, do we have any old business to come before the council?
I just want to say, I guess this is old business, but I just want to say the DPW, the police, and the fire department did an extraordinary job over this last storm. And I want to thank all of them and all their members. And the DPW is still working very, very long hours to clear everything up. And the difference as you drive around is amazing. And I don't know, I would just ask citizens to take a look at what you have piled in the street from your trees. If they're jutting out into the middle of the road, maybe try to pull them back a little bit or cut them back a little bit. There have been a couple of places where I've been driving around. It's hard to go even through the middle of the street because some of the tree limbs and stuff are extended far out. So just check your own and be thoughtful of people driving by. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can add to that, if you don't mind, had a conversation with the mayor today with regards to, so publicly I'd like to say to the DPW on behalf of the mayor and council, thank you for the hard work. They've almost gone 24/7 over the last week. And it's a department that is down people. They have 3 people out on medical and they've got 3 open positions. So they've stepped it up. At the same time, the mayor was able to get some assistance from some other towns, and over the next coming days, we'll have some other towns in with chippers to assist and continue with the cleanup. But, you know, I know it's a stressful time for the DPW, and they've really stepped it up, and we're going to try to sit with Dan over the next day or two to discuss, you know, what going forward looks like and preparation. And so, you know, hats off to the DPW. Hopefully they'll get some rest in the next couple of days. So well done. And I'm speaking on behalf of the DPW. That does not dismiss the fire department, police department, et cetera. I'll let those department heads address that. But specifically the DPW, with their down staff, that comes at a cost, and that cost is they're not able to maintain fields. They won't be doing any road repairs for the next, you know, let's call it week or so. So, you know, there's a give and take in the process. You know, nobody predicted that we'd lose 125 town trees in this storm. So, kind of quick update. So thank you and kudos to the team.
So I guess we can use old business as storm hour. I'll say my 5 cents. I fortunately was tried to go back on vacation after the 4th of July parade and was out of town, but was in very close contact with Council President Kelly, who did a stupendous job standing in my stead and trying to marshal borough resources to respond. So we haven't had a full discussion about really what happened here in Oradell. This was a very significant storm. We experienced what were called multiple downbursts. I'll leave people to Google that because I had to when the National Weather Service explained it, and it basically just tore through 5 core towns in central Bergen. Paramus, Oradell, River Edge, New Milford, and Hallworth were the hardest hit towns. In my close communique with the Council President Kelly, I returned to Oradell the next morning to be able to survey the damage. And I want to say, while it took a bit of time, Councilman Gullo, Councilman Kelly, and I went around and toured the damage for about 5 or 6 hours with one of our deputy OEM coordinators and spoke with residents who really are experiencing some tragic circumstances right this second. So while Councilman Tashjian talked about things you would normally expect the DPW to do that may not look like they're getting done right now, it's probably because they're not, because we still have a town that looks like a bomb went off in it. As Councilman Tashjian also said, I've reached out and we've been very fortunate to have received and been the receipt of offers of further assistance from other towns who've not been impacted this drastically. We had the borough of Lodi in town for 2 days last week with 2 crews. I want to thank Mayor Luna for his assistance with that. The administrator and I have been on the phone with various mayors and business administrators to set up other mutual aid towns from outside of our area to come in and assist. This is a massive undertaking. I've lived here 50 plus years. I've never seen a storm like this hit Oradell with the amount of destruction it did. It literally just snapped 18-inch diameter limbs off of trees and threw them into people's houses, crushed their cars. We had 2 residents that were severely injured. Thank God that that worked out and they got the help they needed quickly. This was serious stuff. So Councilman Tashin and I will be in close contact with Superintendent Nywinning at the DPW. I would envision it's going to take another 10 to 15 business days to be able to get everything off the street. And we will have a debrief here with our OEM folks to explain to the council exactly what happened, how our response worked, where we had some shortfalls, where we can plan better in the future. But we're also going to have some discussions about policy surrounding borough trees and other things. Right now, we need to finish triaging and make sure that our right-of-ways are clear and it's safe for people to pass, and we get the debris out and off the streets so we can get Oradell back the way we know it. But I want to thank our OEM coordinator, who worked all night before he got on a plane to leave out of town, our deputies, our fire department, the police department, the DPW, the members of the council that were out during the storm. Everybody was just a real team effort, and I couldn't have been happier with the response that this borough provided for everybody. It was really, I think, a once-in-a-lifetime storm, I hope, that we see. And thank God we didn't get flooding with it like we have in the past. And any other, let's do all our storm comments.
I want to add one more thing. I got a lot of calls. People were frightened about various things. And if you aren't on this, we have an emergency alert number which you can connect to. It's www.oradellalert.com. And they will send you a phone, you will get a phone message and of any kinds of emergencies. If you didn't know about it, I would suggest that you connect yourself to that. And if you don't remember what that is, you can go to the Oradell Emergency Management. They will tell you how to get there. But you should all be connected to the emergency phone line.
And if I may, just a reminder, if you don't have power, you may not have internet, you may not be able to go online. You can use cell service, but if cell service is knocked out, everyone should have a battery-operated radio in their home. Check it from time to time, so at least you can find out what's going on with local news. Not as hyper-local as OPTV would be. Nevertheless, you need to be able to get information, and in a storm like that, we just experienced, it can be difficult. Furthermore, bear in mind that there may be trees that have damage that wasn't visible. The limb didn't come down. It's probably prudent to have an arborist look at any tree that you may suspect was severely stressed, because you don't want to have another surprise the next time a strong storm comes along. And this goes, hand in hand with good housekeeping with trees. A lot of our subsoil is clay, and the roots don't go down deeply, as Maggie has pointed out to me.
Yeah, they go wide.
So they spread out wide, and that may not give them the resilience in a storm such as we had. There are things, tea compost can be injected into the soil to strengthen the roots. These are things that you should consider as a homeowner to protect yourself and your neighbors. Thank you.
I just want to say, it was just amazing how on July 4th, the Oradell Fire Department had an excellent day marching in the parade to responding to absolute chaos in a very serious but, extremely responsive manner. And, a big shout out to the men and women who, packed up their gear late that evening and went out and responded to all those calls, down wires, down trees, and even injuries, unfortunately, that happened within our town.
Last thing I'll add, I get weary about talking about things that are not within our direct control. But I was in contact with our government affairs representatives at PSE&G every minute from when that storm happened until power finally got restored to the rest of town. Councilman Kelly, I think, bore some of the worst with the longest outage, but I want to make it a point. Normally, I'm not complimentary of PSE&G sitting here because they're slow to respond, or, they have capabilities and capacities like we do. I've never seen as many PSE&G crews in this town restoring power as I saw over this last event. And I think part of that has to do with that the damage was so closely clustered and it wasn't widespread across the entire region. But PSC&G was nothing but responsive to my calls to them in making sure that they had the resources they needed to get poles replaced, wire restrung, trees cut out of the wires. By the time they got to Summit, which had the largest cluster of outages into almost Wednesday, was it?
Wednesday morning.
I think they had like 9 or 10 or 11 crews on that one job, and they were working through 24 hours until that job was finished. So while it might seem like an eternity that the power is out, I was elated with the response that PSC&G provided the borough with for this storm. So I thought it was important to know where we aren't always complimentary of them. They're owed a huge round of applause for their response in this instance. Any other storm-related comments?
Yeah, I would just like to say, yes, as witnessing that, I literally was in awe of the leadership and the calmness and the service to the community that all of our neighbors here, your neighbors and my neighbors and our police department at a moment's notice was the big thing. No, I was literally having a hamburger, I think everybody was, on July 4th at about 8 p.m. And very shortly after that, these buildings were filled with your neighbors serving the public constantly all night long, 7 a.m., 6 a.m., the same people are there. And just dedication to task and service and serving others and rescuing people, literally life and death. And it's something that I'll never forget. And if you see any of those folks, police, fire, DPW, OEM, that service all night long, just dedication, really something special to behold under serious duress, and the teamwork that was apparent and evident then. That's very special. So. Thankful.
The last thing, Tom, I want to thank you for the time you put into this. Tom was literally having his hamburger, and I called and I said, "What's going on in town?" And he said, "I don't know. It looks wonderful out. I'm in Emerson across the street." Until he came back, and I think his resilience wore down over the night when we spoke the next morning. But Tom, thank you very much for the time you spent throughout the night marshaling our resources. I'll do one other thing under old business. Just very broadly, I want to put out, the expectation I have for us as a governing body is really a high-level arm of the borough's government, right? Our job is to set policy. Our job is to strategically plan. Our job is not to direct staff in the day-to-day operations of the borough. That's why we have an administrator. If there are things that don't work right, and trust me, there are plenty of things that don't work right. Sometimes you only find out about them when somebody comes forward and says, this doesn't work right. Paul must have brought about 100 of those things to our attention. Thank you, Paul. There's ways that we deal with that. We go to the administrator, we go to a department head, we go to a council liaison. Never in a million years, and I only mention this because I had some employees talk to me, should we be discussing the performance of employees in a public meeting like this on this dais? There's ways to deal with those things, and if systems need to get fixed or we need to improve them, we'll absolutely be committed to doing that. But we should, as a matter of policy, understand that that should never happen in a public meeting. The staff work hard. They deserve better than that, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But I thought it was important for all of us together to hear and understand that, and I would ask for everybody's ability to comply with that. Mr. Hines is here. You can go to him with any problem you have. He loves problems. We have any new business come before the council? If not, Laura, could you read the correspondence into the record, please?
There was a thank you note from Scout James DeGuglielmo from a meeting that he had with you, Mayor Coth.
Yes, young man working on a merit badge for his Boy Scout career there. I'm very happy to help. We have on the agenda the approval of minutes of May 12th, 2026. Anybody have any corrections, comments, or other things before we entertain a motion to approve the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
What particular day was that again?
I checked, there were no conflicts, everybody was present.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Harrer? Yes. Mr. Banfield?
Yes.
Okay. Next on the agenda is public comment. 2 sections. I'll just review this because I see we have an audience tonight, which is lovely. We love when people come. It's very, very lonely when nobody's here. Non-agenda items and consent agenda items. So we're first going to open to the public for non-agenda items. Please step up to the microphone, state your name, remain courteous.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to hear me speak today. My name is Ashley, and I was hired by Golden Care Therapy as the operations manager for our brand new ABA center right here in 2 Forest Ave. We will be supporting children with special needs in a one-to-one setting. This means that every child will have somebody there dedicated to their progress, safety, and care. I'm incredibly proud of this space. If you've seen it, you know it's so charming, it's thoughtfully designed, and ready for a ton of singing, dancing, learning. I'm here today to ask for your help. We have been trying to open our center for over a year now, and we've faced delay after delay for one reason or another. Back in February, the zoning board worked with us and approved our variance use. Since then, we have not had any luck getting final approval from the construction official to open our doors. I'm here today to share more about our services we hope to provide to the community and to ask for your support with facilitating collaboration between the town and Golden Care Therapy. These delays have had a direct impact on our learners and our families. Our families chose us for a reason. Golden Care Therapy accepts most insurance plans, including Medicaid. We have incredible staff that are aligned with our compassionate, client-first service model for children with behavioral needs. I'm thankful for our awesome team currently providing home services to our kiddos and to the staff we lost that couldn't just wait any longer for us to open our doors. We haven't just lost staff, we've also lost clients as well. We've sent many of our kids to other centers and also prospective clients to other centers so that they can get the support that they need. Although some of those kids are getting help, we still have a number of clients who don't have anywhere else to go. The other centers might be too far for them, or they don't accept their insurance. A lot of centers are also at capacity and currently have a wait list to receive services. Golden Care Therapy has the space, no wait list, and is approved or authorized to provide the services these families desperately need. Professionally, I'm disappointed in the lack of effective communication we've had with the building department and the barriers that we've experienced to get our space open. Personally, I am devastated for my families and for my babies. I know how important it is to get intensive services as soon as possible. I grew up with an aunt that has Down syndrome, and I have a nephew on the spectrum that benefits from substantial support. ABA services have been integral in both aspects of my life, and I know firsthand the difference it can make in your community. I really, really hope that we can open our doors this summer. I've met so many special people and businesses here in Oradell that I know are really rooting for us to get to the finish line. I want to be a resource the town can use for specialized autism support. I'm happy to connect families with developmental pediatricians if they have concerns, or share support groups with families that may need more help. If anyone here or anyone there has a family member or a friend in need of autism support, I'm happy to share my business card so that I can get them the help that they need. Thank you for hearing me out. I look forward to any support or any insight that you can offer us so we can get through this process. Our BCBA Jess will be speaking next, a little bit more on our program and the services that we're aiming to provide to the community. Thank you.
Can you just leave your business card with Mr. Hines so that he can follow up with you?
1,000,000%.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Jess Gose. I'm here tonight not only as an employee of Golden Care Therapy, but also as an Oradell resident, a parent, and a member of our community. I have proudly called Oradell home for the past 10 years, where my husband and I are raising our 2 kids who both attend Oradell Public School. I am a board-certified behavior analyst, also known as a BCBA. For the past 20 years, I have dedicated my career to working with children with autism in public schools, private ABA schools, and home-based therapy. My passion has always been helping children reach their fullest potential. At Golden Care Therapy, we use applied behavior analysis, also known as ABA, to help children build important skills, including communication, social skills, independence, and daily living skills. ABA is considered the gold standard of treatment for children with autism because it is evidence-based and has been shown to make the greatest impact when provided consistently and at an early age. Early intervention is so important because young children's brains are rapidly developing and are especially ready to learn new skills. By starting therapy early, we give children more opportunities to build their communication, social, and independence skills that will support them throughout their entire lives. Research has shown that children who receive intensive evidence-based ABA services during the early years can make meaningful gains in communication, adaptive skills, learning, and independence. More than a year ago, I was hired as the lead BCBA for the Golden Care Therapy Center here in Oradell on 2 Forest Avenue. One of the things that excited me the most about this opportunity was the chance to help create a center where children could not only receive therapy, but also learn and grow alongside their peers. While home-based therapy provides valuable opportunities to work on skills in a child's natural environment, a center-based setting provides something unique: consistent opportunities for structured peer interaction. Since social communication is often a major area of need for children with autism, practicing these skills with peers in a supportive environment is incredibly important. Just before Golden Care was preparing to open last September, a zoning issue arose. We worked closely with the zoning board, and in February, we were grateful to receive a variance allowing the building to operate as a one-to-one ABA center. At that point, we believed we were close to opening our doors and serving families who have been patiently waiting. Unfortunately, since then, additional delays have continued to postpone our opening. I want to be clear that we fully support meeting all safety requirements. The safety of our children, our families, our staff is always the highest priority. At the same time, I believe there's an opportunity for Golden Care Therapy and the building department to continue working together to resolve the remaining issues so we can begin providing these much-needed services. Every delay has an impact. Time matters. These are children who are in a critical stage of development and who need access to early intervention. Families have been waiting, and the opportunity to teach important skills today is being pushed further away. As an Oradell resident, I'm here to advocate for these children and for these families. I respectfully ask that every effort be made to help resolve the remaining issues between Golden Care and the building department so this process can be completed before the end of the summer. I love this town and the people who make it such a wonderful community. I truly believe Oradell's values align with Golden Care Therapy's mission of providing compassionate, family-centered, and supporting children's success. This center is not simply a business, it is an essential healthcare resource that will support children, families, and our community as a whole. I respectfully ask for your support in helping bring this important resource to Oradell. Thank you for your time and allowing me to share my perspective this evening. And I also wanted to thank everybody who came here tonight to support Golden Care. That just means the world. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for non-agenda items?
Hello, my name is Diane Danielle, and I live on Prospect Avenue in Oradell. I'm coming tonight with an important message about the same topic. Then something happened. Serendipity happened. This is even better than my first draft. This is a true story. Friday afternoon, I was having a small procedure done, which required some time, so the techie and I, who was doing the procedure, and I got to talking, chatting, mostly about the recent damage and what we are going to do about it. Conversationally, I asked her about her previous career, as she explained that she was fairly new at this time of life. Wow, this is some story. She was previously a nanny for a very wealthy couple who adopted 4 children with special problems, more than special needs children. 2 of them were addicted to drugs. You learn to love these children, and you learn to take care of them. She received advanced training in many fields: addiction, rehab, sensory overload, stimulus issues, acting out, learning issues, violence, and almost everything else you can think of. She stayed with this family for 9 years and left only after all the children were in full time. We did not have time to discuss the next part of the children's lives as we went on to her life. She is currently helping out her sister, who has 2 children, 1.5 and 3, and whose husband is in the service, overseas, somewhere. He is a 13-year career husband in the service, and he has a soldier with many intricate and specialized skills. They were very unspecific what they were. Dubai was mentioned. All her previous experience with children is now important to the family, and now that her sister is raising the children under this complicated scenario. All her previous background with children and special issues now comes in handy. She feels she sees some issues that her sister and the Army pediatricians do not. Language issues. Boys speak later than girls. Yes, that's the usual response. The younger child has better language skills than the 3-year-old. She is getting more attention drawn to this issue now that the boy is older. Bang. That just hit me. I am going through something very similar in my family. My 17-month-old, wonderful, bright, loving, sweet baby boy is not speaking yet. The usual response from everyone, including the pediatricians: boys speak later. Our case is a little bit more complicated, as his father is deaf. He has been tested, of course, almost immediately at birth, and is well in that direction. Then why is he not speaking? He follows the sounds and repeats the pitch of the words, but no words. Almost dog, night-night, bye-bye, but not really. When it is time for the family to say something, he, the other boy, eventually was tested after much discussion and dissension. Autism is the eventual diagnosis after many, many examinations. Now what does a family do? If you are lucky enough to have a family, someone who has this terrific background, you start looking around for the best programs that have worked with others and have experience with autistic children. Luckily, they live in Virginia, a state that has good schools and many preschool programs and many other resources where you know your child is getting the best programs that we know about. After much searching, the answer was pretty clear, ABA, and it took me a long time to learn that, Applied Behavioral Analysis. I have recently learned about this word and the program, and I know you will be hearing and learning about it as the day goes by. We may have our own ABA program in Oradell shortly. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But this is not all that he is getting. He gets speech and language therapy, muscle work, positioning of the tongue, stimulus regulation, and many other facets of the program that I'm not aware of. Progress, you say? I really can't say. But the family is behind this wonderful program, and what they have to do to keep him in this wonderful program. But remember, the father is in the armed services. What happens to soldiers and their family when the soldiers get moved? Another assignment. Soldiers don't have choices, do they? Usually no, but in this situation, they do. You see, this father is very special, and his child is very special. This situation is a little different because of the special category of his classification. He has an agreement with the service, not saying which one. He will agree to move his family to a place in the world that only has an ABA program. He will not accept the transfer, the assignment, whatever, unless there is an ABA program available. Can you imagine saying that to the United States government? Wonderful. Parents in the service are doing all they can to keep their son in the possible program so that his talented father can keep doing his job and supporting our country. So support us, and let's get ABA cooking in Oradell. Thank you.
Hey, Sam, I think this nice young lady behind Paul was waiting to speak. If you wouldn't mind letting her go first.
That's okay. I'll be quick.
This isn't as serious.
If they let me be quick. Hi, my name is Lisette Laspisa, and I live in Oradell. I have lived in Oradell for 30 years. I live at Corbett Place, which is right off of Soldier Hill. Mr. Ed Hines was very kind enough to pay my home a visit. Unfortunately, I wasn't there to receive him. But we have serious concerns on our street. We have requested from the DPW, I speak on behalf of all of our homeowners. They're all original homeowners on Corbett Place. The street was... I guess was under construction. It was a subdevelopment, and it was done by Mr. Montalbano, and it started approximately in 1994, 1995, and residents were able to move in on 1997. Once they moved in, I believe that their CO was being held back because the top layer or the top coat had not been properly or wasn't, up to Mel Streeter's choice. He was the inspector at the time, or what he wanted. And a bond was withheld from Mr. Montalbano, who was the developer for the cul-de-sac. So today I'm here to speak on behalf of my neighbors. We, the residents of Corbett Place, are formally petitioning the Borough of Oradell for the full repaving of our road. The condition of our street has deteriorated to a level that is not only an eyesore, it is a legitimate public safety emergency that demands immediate municipal attention. At the end of the cul-de-sac, we have new residents that have moved in. They have 2 children who cannot ride their bicycles because between the potholes, the loose gravel, the alligator cracking, the ruts, the depression, water pooling, drainage failure, and surface fading and binder breakdown prevents them from using their training wheels. Another neighbor, her grandson, who's probably 2 or 3, was playing outside. He fell, he scraped his knees and his elbow. My aunt visited a few years ago when we had requested that they come in and they pay attention to this to the street. She fell. She was 90 years old and she broke her hand. We did not file anything or accuse the town of poor services. So that was two things. Recently, a lady was walking her dog. I had been pulling in and out of my driveway, and I noticed that she was falling on the street. I went to approach her, and she says, "No, do not help me. Please grab my dog." So this is something that Mr. Hines did walk and did presence and did notice the condition of our street. So as far as potholes, they're scattered throughout the street, causing vehicle damage and creating dangerous conditions for drivers, cyclists, pedestrians. We do not have a sidewalk on Corbett Place. It is a dead end and a cul-de-sac. Loose gravel and raveling, where the asphalt surface has broken down to the point that the road feels and functions as an unpaved surface. Alligator cracking, the interconnected scale-like fracture patterns that pavement experts recognize as a sign of fundamental base failure, a condition that cannot be corrected with surface patching, which is what we've been having for the past 12 years. Ruts and depressions where repeated traffic loads have permanently compressed, destabilized the pavement structure. Water pooling and drainage failure, where standing water collects after rain, seeps into existing cracks, and accelerates the ongoing deterioration of what little structural integrity remains. Surface fading and binder breakdown, indicating that the asphalt's binding material has degraded beyond the point of effective maintenance. Each of these conditions on its own would warrant serious attention. Together, they represent a road that has exceeded its useful life and cannot be restored through patching, resealing, recoating, or recoating alone. The only responsible and cost-effective solution for Corbett Place at this stage is full repaving. I understand that there are probably other streets in Oradell that do have and exhibit the same conditions as ours. Maybe not to the same level. Mr. Hines would probably know that. To what degree, it would be something that he would know as well. The daily impact of our community is real and it's growing. We have young children on our street. We have grandchildren on our street. We have pets on our street. Residents are experiencing vehicle damage from pothole impacts. Families with children, elderly neighbors, and anyone on foot or bicycle face genuine safety risks every time they use Corbett Place. Property values along Corbett Place are affected by the visible state of despair. And with every rain cycle, the freeze-thaw, the pounds of salt damage compounds, meaning the longer action is delayed, the more costly and extensive the repair will become. We respect the demands of the borough's infrastructure budget, and we are so grateful for the council's continued dedication to Oradell. However, we are asking that Corbett Place be prioritized on the upcoming repaving schedule. The conditions described above are well documented and verifiable, and we are fully prepared to provide photographic evidence, coordinate a site visit, which Mr. Hines already did, and present our case directly here tonight. We thank you for your time. We appreciate your concerns, and we understand that you as well as Oradell residents understand that when we have people visiting, when we have children riding our bikes, when we have grandchildren playing with their balls, when we have pets running around and walking with their owners, that they do also play a role in our lifestyle. Our street deserves the same safe, functional infrastructure that every Oradell resident expects and deserves. We are confident with your leadership this can be addressed, and we are committed to advocating until it is. Thank you for your time and service and your consideration of this urgent request. Respectfully, all the homeowners of Oradell at Corbett Place, Dr. Salvatore Laspisa and Lisette Laspisa, Mr. and Mrs. Guy Tallarico, Dr. and Mrs. Fred Bergamo, Mr. and Mrs. Al Garino, Dr. and Mrs. Ed Malley, Mr. and Mrs. Pat Vidiello, Mr. and Mrs. Walter Meyer, and the new family, which I do not know their last name, but Gila is the woman's name. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your attention to this matter for Corbett Place.
Sam Tripsis, 327 Maple Avenue. I don't want to break the momentum. This isn't serious. everything else so far I've heard. So if there's anyone else that wants to go ahead to speak, okay. I got a call from the Bergen County players a couple days ago from David Luke. They're asking to have the tree pruned back in front of their marquee. This has been an ongoing thing over the years since trees grow. Timing's not great now because of the storm, but I just wanted to get it on record. So I don't know if they've contacted anyone else.
They have, yeah.
Oh, they have. Oh, good. All right. Well, that's all. Also, the ordinance 2610 for the joint board. Is there going to be a comment period for when it comes up for adoption? Okay. So can we speak on agenda items to make a comment?
You can speak on it now because the ordinance is a separate introduction versus a consent agenda.
So I can speak on it now.
You can speak now.
All right. So 2610, for the people who don't know, is for to form a joint board and eliminate the zoning and planning board. It's up for adoption tonight, and I suspect it's going to be a unanimous vote. And sadly, you know, I've always felt the separate boards were put us in a better position for many, many reasons, checks and balances and personalities of the people on those boards. You know, whether they're detail-oriented or not, they ask questions. So here we are. 14 years ago, this was attempted, and it was pushed back from the public and the boards, and it was tabled. So 14 years later and a year and a half of the present discussion, we're finally going to see probably it's going to happen. I just feel it's a mistake. It's an unnecessary change. All you needed to do was really, you know, you had an attendance issue. I understand that, but people need to be committed. And I wouldn't say demolish a strong board like the zoning board, and to create and where you probably would need to maybe beef up the planning board. You know, you don't lessen one board for another. Now this is a question. We have the ordinance where we can appeal the zoning decision. We've used it once, and it was successful with Walgreens in 2008 and 2009. It was a way to go to the to mayor and council rather than go to the Superior Court where you have a better chance. Now I look at page 7. I'm wondering if that's the same. It's H, and it talks about being able to appeal. Is that the same thing?
Yes, it is.
It is. Well, I'm pleased to see that at least. That's a bright spot. All right. That's all I have to say. But I really wish we didn't get to this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Adriana Moretti, Oradell Kids Foundation board member. I know that it was up for discussion today, but is it a yes, we're good to have that date? Because we need to publish our race website, and it's already been delayed like 4 weeks. Yes. So is it good?
It
okay.
is.
That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Let's talk about that later.
Paul Latsunas, 50 Beverly Road. I'm going to speak on the main issue of the 2610, and then I have some other items too, but I have to speak about this first. The public spoke at the last council meeting, quote, "Don't change it. Keep the two boards." Quote, "More people make decisions. Making decisions is better than a few," unquote. Quote, "We don't want an approval board. We want to continue with an independent zoning board. We want both boards to investigate by asking questions and provide criticisms, to eliminate congestion, have concern for health, and allow for beauty and preserve what we have in our town, in allowing for the pursuit of happiness of Oradellians. We must include a public advocate when all else fails to listen to the issue at hand and be able to provide one as needed. On the trees that are removed prior to the future development, up to 5 years, it should be. It's presently 2 years, and on the advocate, you've eliminated the public advocate. As a minimum must be paid for the fine because it can take that long. It takes longer to do stuff and developments now. The sale of that property and transfer of that property cannot be made until the fine is paid. If renovations are made and trees are removed, so better use of the land, the fine must be paid regardless of a grandfather clause, so-called grandfather clause. Specifically for what happened to me at taking down the 41 trees behind my home. We should not eliminate the two boards for convenience to developers, special interest groups, or employees of our town. The people have spoken. Let it be. As the Beatles sing the song, listen to the words of wisdom from the public. Let it be. Let it be. Now, on other various topics that I speak about, because this was the main one, I want to thank you, Mayor, for the letter that you was written and told to us by Tom Kelly at the previous meeting about affordable housing and what the legislature is trying to do to limit the power of our town to conduct business as in zoning and to not allow for us to continue our practices of having a zoning board and allowing it to make the decisions for our town, because what they're doing, and as you spoke, that they override everything, and they're just taking the power of our town away. This is a very tragic thing. This is very tragic. This is it's almost like communism. Okay, so actually probably is. Anyway, I contacted the officers of the representatives, the offices of the representatives that are sponsoring the various bills for legislation that you prevented, and I hope that people will go online and see this letter that was submitted to the town and call the representatives and protest it. Okay, on another topic, thank you for what you said tonight about the B1 zone to 25 miles per hour for the entire B1 zone, including the southern end of town. Wonderful. Wonderful. I just hope that we can enforce it. And we're going to need more people to watch this and give out some tickets here so that we can do this. I don't know if you have to have a grant to give out tickets. Somebody told me that you get a grant or something, but I hope not. The traffic on the side streets on the corner of Berkshire and Kinderkamak Road, to the right, facing north, there's an X. And you're not allowed to park there, but people park there. And I think that we should have a more stronger fine for somebody that parks there because they're blocking the view of somebody trying to get onto Kinderkamak Road. And I think we should do something in that regard. On another thing I have here is, has the planning board recommended to the council for an ordinance for storefronts and that they must have windows in the B1 business zone? We've been waiting a while and talking about this for quite a long time in the planning board too. And they canceled their last meeting again. So that's 2 meetings they canceled out of 3. So I don't know what's going on there. So on another topic, the storm has put the DPW in a rough spot. I know that, and I'm just wondering, can we get any help from the state? Does the state have any help, or maybe the federal government, for disasters or stuff like this? I don't know. So I'm just asking that question. And lastly, has anybody looked into the agenda that I submitted that came from River Edge and how they do their business? And maybe we could find something that we could use there. And I thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Hi, Lorraine Bogert, 83 Wanamaker Avenue. I'm here to speak about 2610 also. I don't recall recruitment for members of these boards being any issue in 2012 when a move to combine the zoning and planning boards was quashed. At that time, proposals for development had residents so engaged that the benefits of working out issues through 2 boards became widely obvious in Oradell. Those issues brought with them all the packed meetings and all the competing views, some would say divisions, but it revitalized local decision-making. It revealed and motivated some real talent and educated residents among us who committed their time to making a quasi-legal zoning board and perhaps a more political planning board become models of what it takes beyond voting for council members to use what control residents do have to assert local control, local input into the development of their own town. I think this is a test for the Borough Council's faith in more than perfunctory local rule and in the commitment of residents to their town. The impression was given that there would be a pause before a second vote on 2610, not a stealth sprint during the sleepy summer. Please make a loud public appeal and real effort for new talent. We know it exists here. Have some faith in residents. Give them time to respond and table the ordinance for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for non-agenda items? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close to the public for non-agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll now ask for a motion to open to the public for consent agenda items only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Any member of the council have any questions or wish to pull a resolution for separate discussion or vote? Those would be resolutions 26-150 through 26-163.
Yes, Your Honor. I have a couple of quick comments I'd like to make. One is a question. Resolution 26-152 was the audit which I went through extensively, and I wanted to say that one of the things that was interesting were the compliments for Katie Chen for the job she's doing, collecting on grants, good tracking and spending of grants, her generally accepted practices, her gap work is very good, and that she keeps a very balanced claims account, very good refunding, and that she works very well, transparently and openly with the auditors. So I just thought that was worth mentioning. So we want to thank Katie and her whole department. It's probably not my place, but sometimes I think thanking people is a good idea. So I just wanted to put that in the record.
Thank you.
And then my other one is a question, which is 26-158. We're approving some resignations. A couple of them are 2024. Is there a lag time that those resignations were 2 years ago and we're just approving them now?
So in the past, we've appointed people, but we've never formally accepted at the council level resignations. The clerk and I discussed this when it was communicated from the fire department that these folks were removed from the roles. And we collectively thought that it was a better housekeeping procedure, just as we accept the resignation of a full-time, part-time, or other class of employee, that we would do the same in the situation that applied to the fire department as well. So this is a new policy that hopes to keep our books in better order.
That explains it. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Anyone else have any questions or wish to have separate discussion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Taxian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Harrer?
Yes.
Mr. Banfield?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kern. Before we get into the ordinances, I just want to make one comment. 2610, which is next on the agenda that some of the public has commented upon tonight, and we very much appreciate all the comments that were shared with us, has not been raced to the finish line. We've discussed this for over a year and a half. We've had people from the zoning board, the planning board, other professionals come before the council to discuss this. So I'm very confident in saying that the council's done its homework in the decision it's about to make. And this could have been voted on at the last meeting. 2 meetings are required in order to adopt an ordinance. I felt it was more important and asked Council President Kelly to hold the public session so that we could focus on the public's comments and take that into consideration, delaying the vote one more meeting, so that if there was something that had an impact on a council member's vote or how they wanted to find in regard to this ordinance, they'd have the time to evaluate that and make that decision. So I think we've been very prudent in how we've gone about this. And I would say, look, this is different, right? And different sometimes means uncomfortable. I served on the planning board for over 10 years. I'm a planner. I have to tell you that from my perspective alone, this is sort of moving with the times of how this is being managed in New Jersey. And that, again, from my perspective, this puts the borough in a stronger position to be able to engage with people who are bringing land use plans before the borough for approval. When 2 boards now who are looking at our master plan, which has been planned for decades, really, we update it once every 10 years, and those who are asking for relief, sometimes there's a disconnect there where variances are given that aren't very much in accordance with the master plan, and sometimes that even happens on the planning board. And I think there needs to be better consistency with that. So again, from my perspective, moving forward in this direction, and look, it's not something that can't be undone. God forbid this is a social experiment gone awry, but we're not the first ones to walk this path. We're not the trailblazers here. This has been done in dozens and dozens and dozens of towns throughout the state. And our move in this direction, I believe, is progressive and better prepares the borough to engage with the development that will come before us in the years to come. I've spent the last year and a half of my tenure in this role dealing with affordable housing. I feel like I've been shot at 100 times and my vest is like wearing thin. And as Council President Kelly read what I wrote on vacation at the last meeting, these guys don't give up. The legislators are writing more legislation that tries to end round municipal authority. So, we need to advocate for ourselves, people who want to come and voice their frustration at the council. Absolutely, we're here. We're happy to hear it. But we don't make these decisions. We need you to also voice your frustration to the representatives that are elected in Trenton who are writing these crazy laws. that have negative impacts on communities like ours. I am happy to report that there was I'll call it a landmark Supreme Court decision today in New Jersey that strengthened communities' ability to hold an inherently beneficial application, so senior housing or other types of uses that in the past have gotten like a fast track to approval, to the borough's master plan. That's a plus. Unfortunately, the courts had to decide that, not the legislators. But I'll take a win any way we can get it, because we're all concerned about Oradell. We all want to preserve Oradell as we know it. But I have to tell you, we also have to have the foresight to be progressive. Because if we weren't, we'd all be living in teepees on the Hackensack River, right? Oradell has grown over time, and we want to preserve Oradell the way we like it. In my opinion, this is a step in that direction. And I've had plenty of conversations and listened to people who thought otherwise, and I've really appreciated those conversations. And, some of the things that have come out of them, my opinion's been changed. We put the ability to appeal back in when we had first, in earlier drafts, removed it. So, look, I think that this is putting us in a stronger position to be able to deal with the situations and the challenges that we're confronted with in the best way possible. So I just wanted to say that before we move on. If any other council member wants to make a statement before we go through calling for a vote and reading this for a second and final reading, this is the time to do that.
I just want to say, as the chair of the ordinance committee, that we definitely did our due diligence as a committee to go through this particular ordinance. We went line by line, clause by clause. We even amended this particular draft when it was a draft many times to make it amendable for everybody on the dais here to vote on this. So we definitely did a lot of work since the beginning of the year, and we're finally at this point to have it for a vote today.
I also wanted to say, I think we've all deliberated about this extensively. I was on the planning board 3 times, and when we were on the one of the times I was on the board, they tried to merge the boards, and at that time, our planning board that I was on were against the merger, and we defeated it, and we got the public behind us. I think the times have changed. I agree with the mayor. Things are different, and when I look at the record of the planning and zoning boards and the times when they were not able to have a quorum and have a meeting, which we never did. We always attended our board meetings. And so things have changed in that area. Among the research that I did, I went back through all of the Oradell Mayor and Council meetings before I got on the council where this was discussed, and I looked at what the experts said. I also called our local representatives, Chris Tully, Lisa Swain, and the Senator Joe Lagana, and I spoke to them about the legislation that is moving through in Trenton. And one of the things they told me is that the 2 bills that we're concerned about are not going to move. The man who submitted those bills has submitted thus far in the legislative session 135 bills, of which none of them have gone through. And they all assure me that they do not plan to vote for the bill that would allow church property to be used without planning and zoning oversight, and the bill that would allow accessory housing without planning board and zoning board oversight. Also, Councilman Banfield and I, with the agreement of the entire council, wanted to have Section 240-3.7, Section H, which is the appeals to the mayor and council for someone who's gone through the joint planning board, zoning board, or joint land use board and wants to appeal. So we got that put in, and thank you to the mayor and council. Everybody supported that. It has been a very difficult discussion. And when I started out in this discussion, I was against it. I have, however, through all of this research and through seeing what the planning and zoning boards are saying themselves, which they support this, and I feel that that's kind of a strong argument that I can't refute. If they are not behind keeping separate, then I think merging it is probably the best idea. And I agree with the mayor. It is the forward-looking method that many, many, many towns are now doing because of all the reasons that we've mentioned. So that has changed my vote, and I just wanted the public to know this is not without thought, it is not without research, but I feel confident that Oradell is going in the right direction.
Thank you. I just want to touch on one thing you said about the assurance you've been given by our legislators in District 38. They also voted on round 4 of affordable housing, which I've had a lot of fun with for the last year and a half, and we all have.
I know,
as
and
a
I've
council.
asked.
So I'm not knocking on them, but what I'm saying is I'm happy to hear that that's their thought on these bills. I wouldn't use that as a false, comfortable perspective that we don't have to advocate with the sponsors, the governor's office, and others to say,
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. No more of this nonsense.
Right.
You cannot erode local municipal control of zoning and planning.
I think it's helpful if the public know that our representatives are Chris Tully, Lisa Swain, and Senator Joe Lagana, and you should write to them and contact them. And I agree with you, Mayor. I don't ever rely on an assurance of something that's not signed, sealed, and delivered, but I found it rather performative that this gentleman who's putting forth these bills has put forth 135 other bills, none of which have gone through. So that I found an interesting factoid. But I agree with you, and I think the public, if you're upset about this, please do contact Representative Tully Swain and Senator Lagana. They need to hear from all of us. They're hearing from me frequently.
Mayor, we've certainly gone over this ordinance for a long time and in great depth. My only hesitation is that an 11-page ordinance, which is pretty long, pretty complicated, has only been in the public domain for 3 weeks. I mean, for us, it's been an eternity, but it's only been out in full in the public for 3 weeks. And in the summer. So
I don't think that's accurate, Dave.
No.
It's 3 meetings we've been talking about this. That's 6 weeks.
Right, but the ordinance wasn't published until the last meeting. Is that correct, Laura? It wasn't on the bulletin board.
Published on first reading 6 weeks ago.
Correct. So the introduction, it's made available to the public. Then the last meeting was the public hearing. So that's another 2 weeks, and then tonight is another 2 weeks.
Right.
So it's
So I'm not trying to take whatever point you're trying to make. I just want to make sure the facts we have them out there.
Fair enough. Having said that, and recognizing that passing this ordinance will increase at least one member of the council's responsibility, since we will elect one of our number to be on that new board. I see the necessity as it's been shown, and with the support of the other boards, I understand that this is probably something that we will be happy we've done, and I certainly hope so.
Anyone else? Okay. John?
Need the script.
Ah. I like that.
Thank you.
Sorry about
that. Mayor, ordinance number 26-10 is ready for final reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 26-10 by title only?
an ordinance of the Borough of Oradell establishing a joint, that's actually a typo, Land Use Board and amending Chapter 105 entitled Public Advocate for Zoning Board of Adjustment, Chapter 240 entitled Land Development, and Chapter 270 entitled Trees.
Has ordinance number 26-10 been published in full, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the general public?
Yes.
The public hearing on this ordinance was held on June 23rd, 2026. Is there any member of the council who wishes to discuss this ordinance further?
Okay. Mayor, I'd like to motion that ordinance number 26-10 be passed on final reading and published in the Bergen Record on Tuesday, July 21st, 2026.
Second.
We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Terra?
Yes.
Mr. Banfield?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Kern.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance number 26-11 is ready for first reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance number 26-11 by title only?
An ordinance of the Borough of Oradell amending Chapter 280 Vehicles and Traffic, specifically 280-39, Schedule 13, parking prohibited at all times.
So I believe this is an amendment to the ordinance that existed where residents of Park Avenue came before the council at a previous meeting to request that they be allowed to park in front of their homes on Park Avenue, and perhaps the restricted parking area be moved to the opposite side of the street. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to motion that ordinance number 26-11 be passed on first reading and published in the Tuesday, July 21st, 2026 edition of the Bergen Record.
So moved.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Ms. Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Banfield?
Yes.
Thank you very much. The last thing I'll just report on 2610 is that this is not in a change to the ordinance that happens tomorrow. While it does say it takes effect immediately, that enables us to now plan for the implementation. I've asked Mr. Bailey to just give us a little bit of an overview on what's involved with that, because it will take time to implement this and sunset the existing boards.
Yeah, actually, it's boilerplate language, but it's take effect immediately and in accordance with law. So, a new board has to be duly constituted, and existing applications, for example, have to complete their course right now. You can't stop an applicant that's before the planning or zoning board midstream and say, no, stop, you got to do it over, because there's still time constraints under the municipal land use law that have to be complied with. So there's still work to do. Right. It's going to be a transition phase once the board is established, appointed, and then new applications would go before the joint board.
Right. So the staff will work on memorializing a transition plan that will be shared with the council, so we're all aware of what the goals are, what the timelines are that we're looking to implement that with, and how that's all going to work. We want this to be an effective and successful and smooth transition, again, to better position the borough to deal with future development. So I just wanted to make sure we touched upon, this is not a change that the boards are out of business effective 9:06 tonight. This has to be planned for, and it has to be transitioned, and that will take its course over the next couple of months. Councilman Tashian?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much, everybody.